All right, gamers, time to look at Golem. Let's check it out. All right, as you can tell, there's a lot of setup in this game. But first off, you're going to have all your resources over to the side here. You're going to have knowledge and gold and clay, and they come in denominations of 1, 3, and 5. You're also going to get these starting chests. You're going to get 4 of them. You're going to pick 2. They're going to give you little special abilities or upgrades at the beginning of the game, or resources. Again, you're only picking 2 of these. You're also getting 4 of these cards, and you're only picking 3 of them. And I got 5 for some reason, but there's 3 of them. And they all have goals. The symbols are in the rule book here. The key is, though, at the very end, if you can complete 4 different symbols, meaning 4 of these, you will get bonus points depending on how many different icons you have completed at the end of the game. So, for example, if I had these 3, it's basically the same as finishing 2, because these have the same symbol, and these will be counted at the end game if you made them and completed them all. Also, on top of that, you're going to have these little pass tokens here for when someone wants to pass. I'll talk more about that later. Everyone gets a handy dandy job aid. You have a score tracker right here. You're going to deal out 3 of these cards, the 1 to 3, and then one of the 4 cards on this deck, and deal them out here. You're going to shuffle through your book pages and deal some out. They come in all different colors: blue, green, yellow, and red. Black is like a wild color, and I'll explain more about that later. Then you're going to shuffle up all these tiles. You have blue tiles, yellow tiles, and green tiles. And then when you put them on the board, you're going to put them in descending order, or ascending order, I should say. And you will have some extra tiles left over for each game, which makes the game different. You'll have the menorah tokens on the tracks at the end there. Everyone will start with a student on each one of these tracks here, and they'll start golems and two out of the 3 cities, and the players get to choose which track they want them on: the clay, the gold, or the knowledge track to begin with. In addition to this, you got your own little player board here. You got your starter here on the 0, another token here on the 1. You're going to give them all these little tokens. These are for future upgrades. They're going to have these double-sided boards. You're just going to flip them around and then have everyone choose one of them. They're all different in how they can be upgraded. These upgrades at the top are always the same, and you'll have them on the top of your board. Those are knowledge upgrades. Of course, you're going to start with 4 golems in these little designated spaces, and your little golem upgrade tokens down here below. Over in this area, you're going to have these tokens, shuffle them, deal out as many players are in the game plus 1. Then you'll have this little all space that anyone can join on. Your rabbi will probably be up here as well. You'll have your marble tower here. You'll have the turn track, whose turn is it going first over here. And then you have all these beautiful marbles that you will drop into the house like that, and you're ready to start the game. The game's very simple, because in player order, based on whatever tokens are up here, you're going to be taking a marble or placing a rabbi. Now, you're going to be taking up to 2 marbles and placing 1 rabbi in your 3 turns, or you'll be passing. And passing is very similar to Grand Austria Hotel. Once you pass, you have to let everyone keep going, or they will also pass, picking up the 2, the 3, and the 4 token as they pass. And once everyone's passed or completed, you're going to take 1 marble, put it in one of these little eye sockets here, and then redump them in there and redistribute. Now, as you see here, there's enough room for someone to pass twice. Once someone has passed, any players that's done the pass action a second time, they just have to choose which marbles they want. But in any order, you can grab marbles or place your rabbi. When you place your rabbi, you take one of the one-time actions here. It blocks out other players except for this bottom section here. This bottom section kills a golem and gives you 2 of any resource. Once you do that, you put your guy over to the left. Anyone else want to take that action can, and they would be played to the right of you, because this would determine the next player order. So, for instance, if I was up here, I'm guaranteed first place. Whereas, maybe other players would play around here. It just depends on who's played ahead of them. And if you've all played at the bottom, then it's the leftmost who would go first in that order. Now, the player order here, I should also mention that this job aid is just great to have, this little icon key here, because it says, hey, at the beginning of the round, except for the first round, you're going to redistribute the marbles, you're going to take all these out, put in more, and you're going to get rid of one of the books on the book track. The book track was over there, over to the top there, so I would knock out that blue, shift everything down, and grab another card and deal it out if this wasn't the first round. Of course, you wouldn't do this for the first round. After that, second thing you're going to be doing is you're going to be moving your golem. And how you move your golem is basically what's here on the player board here. As you see here, everyone starts by 2 golem movements. And then on top of that, whatever these cards up at the top there say. Now you're going to go for each round. This game goes 4 rounds. And you're going to go by what round 1 says right here. So it says 2. So it'd be 2 plus 2. So that means I would have to move a combination of 4 between these 2 golems. Now I can do that by moving one all the way up 4, or this one 3 and this one 1, or maybe I'd move them both up 2. Doesn't matter, but they have to move a total of 4. Now if I had a third one on the third track over here, I could also split that movement among them. But you have to move the golems at least 4 spaces total. After you've done that, then you go over here to this marble track where you're picking 2 marbles or placing your rabbi, of course, in any order. Now, one thing that you're doing when you're getting these marbles, things to remember that these marble colors do mean something. If I was to pick a red marble, despite what action I took on the board, and the actions are over here, I kind of have this backwards now that I see. There you go, that's better. So you'd have the actions lined up with the player board here so that each marble would represent not only the strength of that action you could take, but also the colors will move you up tracks. For instance, this will move you on the red track on the big player board. This moves you on the blue, and of course yellow moves you on the yellow track, and you move your students once. If you choose the black marble, you may move 2 students 1 space each, but you can't move 1 student 2 spaces. So it has to be 2 different students if you use the black one. And if you choose the white one, you do not move the student at all. Now, this is shown here at the iconography at the top and bottom of the board. So what you're doing, again, placing a rabbi, taking the action, it also determines who's going first, second, third. The iconography on all this is very simple, and the rule book will tell you what it all means. Over here, though, when you're taking an action, again, if I was to take any one of these marbles, I could take any one, I'd move up the yellow track, let's say. I'd also place this on my board. Once you place it on the board, this is really cool, you'd place it in one of the eye sockets of your golem there to show that you've taken 1 turn, of course, with a marble. Of course, if you've taken your rabbi turn, you'll already have him on the board. Anyway, I took it from here, so it's a power of 3. And so it says, hey, spending X amount of knowledge, that's the token for knowledge, I can activate 1, 2, 3, or 4 golems. Now, I only have 2, so I would have to pay 3 knowledge, but I get a discount of 3. So in that case, I would get these actions for free. And what does that mean? That means that I can take any of the actions that my golem's on as long as he's standing up. Now, I put these down so you could see them, but if they're active, then they would stand up. Now, when you activate them, they cannot be reactivated unless you have a special card or power that says differently. So I can activate that, pay 1 coin to get 1 gold, and activate that to move any student up any track. Now, once they're down, you cannot activate them again unless, of course, you have some special action that does that for you. At the same time, whenever you are moving golems on your next round, you may move one that's laying down, and when you do, he gets to stand up, even if it's just for 1 movement on the track. So anyone you move for that golem phase in round 2, part 2 here, that's on the player aid here, that will let you know that you can activate them again later on. But if you did not move them that round, then they stay inactive and they would not be able to take advantage of that tile. All of these actions down below are very similar. Again, you take a marble and you're going to get as many clay, coin, and knowledge as you see here on the track. You're also going to be able to do one of the upgrades on your clay section, on your artifact section, on your knowledge section. And let me get to what those upgrades are. There are several different upgrades in the game. Over here is all the knowledge actions. You can upgrade your knowledge board. And basically, this just gives you a bigger income and gives you a faster track and gives you more victory points moving up it. And the cost there is in red for knowledge. And then, of course, you can upgrade any of these, which will give you actions. Now, all these are the same for all players. They're always going to give you these menorahs. Menorahs are going to be counted as victory points at the end of the game. They're going to help you out. So this one, though, can also give you, whenever you tuck cards underneath here, a coin and a brick. This one gives you 2 victory points once it's activated, every time you tuck a card underneath here. Another one would be this one, which doubles the reward of any card you tuck under there. And then finally this one, wherever you tuck a card in there, you will get gold. And you'll get that every time you tuck cards in there. I'll talk about getting cards in just a moment. But that's the upgrades for knowledge. Now the upgrades for golems are right here. You can, of course, build one for 3 golems. Plus, if you have a golem already on that track, just your golem, not anyone else's, if your golem's already on that track, you have to pay an additional 3. So the most you'd pay is 6. Unless you had 3 golems on the same one, then you may have to pay 9. So it forces you to kind of spread out the golem love and all of these little tracks you have. You can also upgrade your golem, which can do different things here. This one lets you take an immediate action and then a +1 action from the top or bottom. This is just 3 menorahs again. This is paying 2 knowledge to kind of get some more control, you know, over your golem. This is like killing a golem and you're getting double the points. This is not moving your golem those extra spaces on those cards, that the little marble cards that say something at the top there. You would get to ignore those extra movements if you had that upgrade. And then finally, the bottom one here just says, hey, once you upgrade it, once you create a golem, you can activate him and move in one space and activate him if you want. So these are all special abilities to help control your golem. Whenever you create a golem, I should mention this, you will move up 2 on this track. Whenever you have to kill a golem, which you will have to kill them because they can run amok, you'll move this down 1. So you'll be moving up farther more than you are moving down. But as you're creating and killing golems, just keep in mind, up 2 when you create one, down 1 when you eventually kill it. Finally, in the artifact section, you'll need gold to trigger these artifacts. Once you hit the gold, you will trigger the little rewards here. Remember, they're special. These boards here are different for any player, so they're different for all players. But you'll trigger those rewards there. You can upgrade these rewards by paying coin and upgrading 3 of these spaces here and only 2 of these spaces here. They don't give you enough to upgrade them all. Or this one, which again is another way to get 3 menorahs. Again, in-game victory points there. So what you do, if you pay the coin, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you've already had this activated, then you could move it here or just flip it upside down. Basically, this is 2 of any resource or 1 of that resource and 1 victory point. So these are kind of all similar in a way, but you'll put it with one that already has, I mean, this one would have to have gold there. And so now, next time this gets activated, which is the end of every round, you'll be getting an additional benefit from the card. Another way you can upgrade it is by these little tokens. Again, you would have to pay the number of coin that's listed here. Of course, the gold bricks would also have to be there as well. And then you can activate it by saying, hey, every time I pick a red marble, I'm going to activate this again. Or every time I pick a blue marble, I'm going to activate that again. Or every time I create a golem, I'm going to activate that again. Or every time I get a book, you know, put a new book in my tops. You have 4 spots here, so you only have 4 columns here. So you can only activate each one of these 4 times in the game to get that benefit. But it's just extra ways you can trigger the benefits without waiting till the end of the round. Now that I've talked about the upgrades, again, let me tell you, of course, in the clay section, that's the emblem for creating a golem if you wish to do so. Remember, you can do this in any order you want. You could create one and then upgrade later, or vice versa. This one allows you to purchase gold for 3 coin if you wanted to. This one allows, so for instance, I could grab my coin, convert it to gold, and then do an upgrade with the leftover coin I had if I needed gold to trigger something. Of course, this one gives you that knowledge update, and this one gives you a page from the book to get. Now, these pages are listed over here, and as you see, it has 2 costs. One at the bottom of the card and then at the top of the board. And this is kind of all shifted up now, I see. But as you see, it goes from 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you have to pay the combined cost. That first card will cost 0, the second card will cost a total of 4, yellow costs a total of 4, red costs a total of 6 right now, and blue, if you see, it has the arrow pointing backwards. That means if you take that card, you're going to move one of your students backwards on a track by 1 and then pay the 4 knowledge. Now, anytime a card is sold from here, you're basically going to, let's say that I took this card here, everything shifts down, and then a new card comes out immediately in the game. And how you're going to tuck these cards, you see on this player board here, let's say I'd flip this over here maybe, I'd upgrade that later. Once I tuck this in, a few things are going to happen. First off, of course, I'm going to trigger the rewards down here, but I'm also going to trigger the reward right here. I can go up on my page track, which is this track here. I could go up 1, and I would want to do this in the game, or grab 1 gold. So it's my decision. Tuck this in, and then of course I would also get the reward that's at the top of the card. Now, if I was able to stack, you can only have 1 of each color in each row. You can stack more on there, but you must be up this little book track to do so. As you see, I can only have 1, but once I move up, now I'm in the 2 section. If I can move my book track up here, I can have a total of 3 of each card, and so on and so forth. So it'd be basically red, blue, yellow, and green would be the 4 colors, with black being a wild. You could put it anywhere. But as you're triggering these, if I tucked another green under here, not only would I trigger this, I would trigger that, and I would trigger the other card plus whatever bonus action it had as it was going in. Now these are just one-time trigger bonuses. The rest of them keep going as it keeps stacking. So you can really get some good points there by buying pages to the book. Now the last little option here is basically paying a coin, and what you're going to get is you're going to take any of these actions. So I could pay 1 coin, and if I took one from here, then I could say, and let's say I just took a white, what I'd say is, okay, I'm going to pay a coin, I want that action. So I had a power of 3, so I would get 3 coin and then so on and so forth. But also here, I could pay 3 coin to go up on the book track if I wanted. Now, once everyone's taking a rabbi action and at least 2 of these marble actions, they put the second one in there, then we go to the next round. That next round is where we determine the player order. And I told you before, depending on where your rabbi is on this track, with a bunch of people being here, to start with the leftmost and move on, would go first, second, third, fourth. So you would rearrange the player order there, and then you go to check to see your eyeballs. If your eyeballs match up the ones of the card for that round, so for this instance, I have to have a yellow or blue. If I had a yellow or blue, with white being wild, black is not. Black means nothing. You'll never get that bonus if you get a black marble. But if you get a white marble, it counts as a wild. So because I got a yellow and a white, I would qualify for this. I have my choice. I can either grab 3 coin, which is what all these cards say, or purchase something using that coin. So there's 2 movements of the book. Getting 2 gold, going up the book track and moving my blue player, or this one, which counts for victory points, depending on how far away my students are down the track. They're all kind of different, but once you've gone ahead and determined whether people get the bonus or not, then you're going to flip this card over, signaling the end of round 1. The last thing that you need to do is go ahead and start getting income. Now there are different ways to get income. Of course on your board, as you see here in our little player aid, income is wherever this hand is, which the hand is here. So I'd grab 2 knowledge. If I was up here, I'd grab 2 more victory points. If I had this activated, then I would grab 2 victory points, a coin, and 2 more knowledge. You know, anywhere where there's hands, I would actually get something. So that's what you got to keep in mind. Now also, don't forget, there are also hands on this track. As your student is moving up on the board, they are also getting bonuses as well. So you would also collect those bonuses as well. Once everyone's collected bonuses, then they can do an upgrade of any type on their player board if they want. Afterwards, now the student must pay knowledge to keep control of the golem. What does that mean? Well, you have to pay as many spaces as you are away from the golem. So in this case, I am, let me see, 1, 2, 3 spaces away from him, and then 1, 2 spaces away from this golem. I don't have any golems on the blue track, so I'm good there. So that's a total of 5 knowledge I must have. If I can't pay that, if I can't pay, for every knowledge I can't pay, I'm losing 5 victory points. Which is why at the beginning of the game, I should also mention, you're starting off at actually 10 victory points. So I'm sure everyone was screaming at me in the comments below, but hey, I already figured it out. After you've paid for your golem knowledge or lost victory points, you start all over again with the cleanup phase. Go for 4 rounds. Whoever has the most victory points wins. Don't forget to add up any of these card bonuses here that you've scored. And for every 5 resources, you do get an extra victory point. And whoever has the most victory points obviously wins. And I forgot to add a few things here. Once you kill off a golem, this is where you would put him anywhere on this track. Of course, there are certain player numbers where you would avoid putting golems there, but you could put him anywhere, starting here or moving in the middle or wherever you wanted to go to gain that reward. Also, when your student crosses the end of any of these tracks, you're going to get the menorah token. Again, these are for in-game points, which I didn't mention, but I'll get to in a minute. And if your golem goes through here, you're either going to have to start paying additional knowledge or losing victory points. And if he gets up here and you can't move him any more for any space, you can't move any of your golems, you're going to, meaning they're all at the end here, you're going to lose an additional 5 victory points. And how menorahs work for in-game victory points, you add all the ones you've upped. So I've upgraded this board, this board, and this board. So that's 3 menorahs plus 3 out of the 4 rows I got. 3 times 3 is 9. Over here, if I had gotten any of these upgrades, let's say I got maybe 2 here. So I got 2 times the number of golems I built, which let's say I had 4 empty spaces here. 2 times 4 would be 8. And over here, I upgraded 2 artifacts here and had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 menorahs, which would be 10 victory points. Final thoughts. What do I think about the game? Well, sorry, I was kind of all over the place there. I had to stop the video like 5 different times. That teaches me not to do a review before my kids go to bed. Got to wait till after. All right, so Virginio Gigli, I really love his games. This was one of his newer games, one I'd looked at for years, really wanted. My friends were really excited to play it. I should also mention it comes with some promo cards, just some more, like 4 more like eyeball cards. I can't remember where I got those. They're not really worth it, but it does come with some promo cards. You can get them. This game is okay, but a little heavy. It's a little slow. It's for people. I even had trouble coming up with making decisions because it's just a big brain burner at times. And my friends with analysis paralysis really suffered through this. Even though they enjoyed the theme, it is kind of a drag in a way because you feel like, and this should be engine building, you should be feeling like you've accomplished something, but resources are so tight and you're barely getting able to upgrade stuff, it feels like. And it feels like you never get to complete anything. Your golems you didn't work very hard on, or you didn't do, maybe just focus on one and just go for it. You don't get that many book pages. Going up that little book track, I think I'm the only one who's made it up high enough to score some victory points at the end. At first, my friends hate killing the golem. They try everywhere to get their apprentice up there. You can't. Maybe if you upgrade all your golem pieces, you can upgrade them. But there isn't a more important resource. The first time I played this, I looked at the game and went, knowledge. That's the most important one. No, it wasn't. And I said, no, I need coin. Coin's the most important. No, it wasn't. Then I saw how clay can create golems, which can give you victory points every round, which can give you upgrades. I was thinking, no, clay's the most important. No, man, they're all important. So that's great. That's great about the game. The only problem, again, with it is you feel like after you've played through this slog in a way, you're like, I don't feel like I accomplished that much. And no one does. You score very low points in this game, possibly maybe 30. And then the in-game points come into play, and that's where you can start really rolling it. I think my average score on this has been like a 77, 74, something like that. It's average. I hope I could do more, but it seems like whatever strategy I try, I just don't get to do everything. Where it should feel like at the end of the game, you've got finally some powerful actions to make. You don't feel like that in this game. You feel like, dang, this could go for another 4 rounds, and I still wouldn't be where I wanted to. So that's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. I still like it. I'm still going to be playing on it and hacking away at it. But don't know about this one. This will be on the lower tier of his games. I'm keeping it because I do love him. He's my favorite designer. But definitely not one of my favorites. Just about all of his games. I'm looking over at all his games here. And just about all but maybe one I'd place above this one. Again, not a bad game, but like I said, you just don't feel you've got that much. Oh, and then the marble tower thing, that's a great idea, but I noticed if it rolls off your hands, there's really no way for those things to shake. Whatever drops first is going to come out first. If you roll heavy, it's going to come out to the forward. If you roll kind of light to the back, everything's going to slide to the back. You can really manipulate those marbles more than I think they intended. But other than that, like I said, good game, stay in my collection. All right, gamers, that's it for now. Till next time, game on.